Hey, it's Nikki Leonti and welcome to another episode. So today I am talking all things about a particular piece of your sales funnel that you may be missing. Now, this piece is usually the last thing that people think about. And so you've got your sales funnel ready, you've got your lead pages, you've got your sales page, you've got your email sequence, you've got all of these things ready to go. But how are you getting traffic to the starting point? How are you getting traffic to that actual lead page? Okay, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. But before I go into more details, and I'm going to be talking about a few different traffic sources, I just wanted to let you know that you can go to the website nikkileonti.com and check out the show notes for this episode. This is episode 88. So go and check out the show notes for that. And I'll be sharing the transcription of this episode as well as any links that I talk about today. So go and head there if you want to get some more, if you're driving, doing the washing, doing whatever it is that you're doing and you can't take notes, I've done it all for you. All right, so now let's get really into today's episode. So we're talking about different traffic sources. Now, there are a lot of traffic sources that probably are coming to mind, such as Facebook ads. Now, this is a great one. So if you've got a budget and you can be doing that, Facebook ads are brilliant. And I definitely think that a lot of social media platforms these days, it's a really pay-to-play type situation. But there are other different traffic sources that are not, that you don't have to pay for. And that's the ones I really want to focus on today, because I've talked about Facebook ads so many times, and there's a lot of other episodes that you can check out. I'll pop the links in the episode if you are looking for more support on Facebook ads. So the first one that you can do is podcast interviews. So being a guest on a podcast allows you to create or tap into a whole nother audience that you may not have tapped into already. And when you do a guest interview with a podcast, then you can also share some kind of lead magnet specifically for that podcast audience that they can then go and sign up to, which is brilliant. So that's one. So podcast interviews, being a guest on those. Facebook Live interviews. So be a guest on a Facebook Live with someone. So you're on their Facebook page. This is a great option because then you can have a clickable link available underneath that particular interview that people can click straight through to a landing page or whatever it is that you're offering. So this is a lot easier to get click-throughs than a podcast where you're relying on people to come and check out, go to your website and click on it. So we've got podcast interviews, Facebook Live interviews, magazines. Now this is a print form, but I still find that I've got a couple of clients who are still doing print ads in magazines, and they're finding that they are generally, you've got to have a good strategy with this, and it's a little bit different to online marketing strategy, but your magazine can start to create some real credibility for you. So if you've got a pretty decent budget, then this is definitely an option for the magazines. But if you have no budget, then you can be doing editorials. So send through an article that you've written just to create some credibility for yourself. So you're not trying to sell anything in that article. You're genuinely trying to create some kind of valuable content that the audience or the reader of that magazine would really value. So there are a lot of magazines out there who are really looking for being like guest writers. So check that out. If you don't have a budget, you can go the editorial route. If you do have a budget, then there's obviously paid ads option there. The next one we want to talk about is guest blogging, and I've spoken about this a lot before, but guest blogging allows you again to tap into a whole new audience. So if you have some great articles that you would like to write for another platform, so make sure that this platform that you're identifying, that they have some decent traffic, that they have complementary type offerings that you have, but not direct competition. And that's the same with all of these options. The next one is speaking at conferences. Now, you don't have to be the keynote speaker at a conference to speak at a conference. You can be, sometimes they have like mini workshops, offshoots kind of from conferences and things like that. So that's an option. So if you're ready to start speaking in a public forum, then speaking at conferences is a great way, again, to increase your credibility and start creating a bigger audience for yourself. The final one is going to meetups and networking events, speaking at those, or simply just attending and being very active. So that's the part that I really struggle with. I have 3 young kids, so getting to networking events are really not high priority for me right now. But when I was doing that, I loved it. I really enjoyed it. I would present at a lot of networking events, but I would also just go around and talk to people. This is like me literally leaping out of my comfort zone, because going around and talking to people is really not my strength. I find that very difficult, and I really have to push myself. So going to those is really, really valuable. So there are a few different traffic sources that I mentioned today. We're talking about podcast interviews, Facebook Live interviews, magazines, guest blogging, conferences, and meetups. So those are the types of traffic sources. Now, your actionable task for today is I want you to go in and book in one of these within the next week. So I want you to find out an extra traffic source. So are you going to be a guest on a podcast or a Facebook Live? Are you going to submit an article for a magazine? Are you going to go to a networking event? Whatever it is, I want you to create and book in one of these options in the next week, so that you can start creating traffic to your landing page. If you don't have your landing page and things like that set up, don't worry, because I do have the ultimate sales funnel checklist, and I will put the link to that in the show notes as well. And that's going to go through all of the pages and emails that you need in order to get your sales funnel set up, so you can do that first and then start working on your traffic sources. All right, I hope you have an amazing week, and I will talk to you next week. Thanks.